One of the ways of interpreting the Dutch defence and playing the Dutch defence is the Stonewall, and I've certainly recommended this in the past to some youngsters, so it's not an entirely daft idea. And black will put a lot of pawns in the middle, like this, all on light squares, so that they dominate the e4 point. White's not going to get their awkward e4 move in a hurry, maybe not at all. And there are disadvantages to moving your f pawn to try and get it in. Black's got more space, an unusual situation in defence where black's got more space than white, and lots of hopes of a kingside attack, so that we've got you can move your pieces over towards the kingside and try and bash your way through. Now that's a fairly straightforward way of interpreting the Stonewall. Not and you know what Botvinnik used to do very well with this in the 1930s, I think 40s, when he used to play it. And you know what, and why not? There is if you do put all your pawns on light squares in the middle, as we've got here, then you are going to get a poor, a bad light squared bishop. And so that is a pretty poor piece, and it's likely to remain so for the rest of the game. Sometimes you can think about trying to get the poor thing over to this sort of position, which is good if you can make it, but that does obviously take an awfully long time. Also, there's a crucial importance of this dark squared bishop. If that ever gets swapped off, your dark squares don't have a good defender, and you can end up with a really terrible weaknesses. White would like to, I think, plonk their knight on the e5 square without getting it swapped off. So sometimes we see a manoeuvre where both knights try and control the e5 point. The white knight will go to e5 very early and then retreat to d3, and the other white knight goes to d2 and then f3, taking the place of its partner, so that both white knights are controlling lots and lots of juicy dark squares, particularly e4, also f4 if you're ever trying to swap off the bishops. The bishop will go to f4 perhaps. So that's an idea. And also c5 is controlled, that's another nice square. And one of the other plans in this type of position, let's just move on a few more moves. One of the other ideas here is to swap on d5 here and then run a minority attack against the black pawn structure on the queen side, and again there a knight on d3 supporting the b4 push is rather cheerful. And there are some big main lines, and you can go and look them up. I'm going to actually recommend in all of these variations that white plays g3 and then an early b3, and so b3 is the move I recommend here. We've talked about the crucial importance of this dark squared bishop, not that one, that one, and so white's last move comes with a threat to swap off the bishop by playing bishop to a3, and that's what you should do if black doesn't do something about it. What they can and should do about it is queen to e7. And if you like, you can actually reinforce this threat with a4, although then I think black will play a5. I'm not sure if this benefits black more than white, or white more than black. You will get to swap off the dark squared bishops, but you're putting more of your pawns on light squares, and you're getting some holes in your positions that the knights will like. One of the insights about the Stonewall that led to Kramnik's use of it in the 1990s is, in fact, well, black's piece on c8 is a bad bishop, but how good is our bishop on g2? It's really dominated by these central pawns, and although it's, quotes, a good bishop, unless it's got something that it can usefully attack or coordinate with to attack, it's actually not much of a better piece than the one on c8. So let's not create too many opportunities for the black knights just yet. So I'm going to suggest after Queen e7, we'll play Bishop b2, and after some more sensible moves, Knight bd2, and that's part of our plan. And having played these sorts of moves, black is unlikely, I think, to go for their move everything over to the kingside plan. Because the move everything over to the kingside plan usually starts with Queen 2, e8 to g3 or h5, and having moved the Queen to e7, that's now a time-wasting plan, and one that might be met with a bishop to a3 move at some point. So the modern plan, the modern way of playing the Stonewall is with b6, announcing, I suppose, that both light-squared bishops are blocked, and also black thinking a little bit more subtly than saying, well, I'm going to let you know I'm going to attack on the king's side. Well, then you can prepare for it. Let's, as black, say, well, we might play all over the board at once, and black might think about having some queenside ideas, and perhaps we'll see some of those in the example line. We play, as I've suggested, a very early Knight e5. We'd be very happy if the knight is swapped for that dark squared bishop. Bishop b7, rook c1. This is the file that white can open or half open. a5 by black, e3, knight a6, queen e2, knight e4, and we can still go for our plan with knight to d3 and knight f3, but in this position I'm going to recommend f4, equalising structures, as it were, in the middle, and hoping that white's just a little bit better place. They've got an opportunity to swap the knight if we want, and we've got an opportunity to capture on d5. That might suit us better than black capturing on c4. The knight goes back to c7, rook fd1, a4, and there we'll swap on e4, bishop to f1, there's nothing for the bishop on that diagonal anymore, and b5, and now queen to e1. This rather murky position has been reached in a couple of games, a couple of email games, and has proved itself just better for white. A couple of examples, rook fd8, just lining up things on the queen side, rook c2, b4, rook cd2, trying to put black off either breaking with c5 or taking on e5, knight g8, and now white chooses to open up lines on the king's side with g4. This is a game between Dorner and Winkler, played by email in 2013, and white's got just a visible advantage. They're more active on both sides of the board, and black's position doesn't look very promising at all. White's quote weakness on e4 has been filled in by a black pawn, and the black pieces don't look very promising at all. The other game went after queen e1, just went black went for b4 straight away, and I think you just carry on with the plan. Rook c2, that was a game between, forgive my pronunciation, Delicia against Chaika, a game by email in the style in 2016, and again white won that game. So lots of ideas there. Perhaps the main line that I'm showing is not completely in tune with the theoretical ideas that I talked about earlier, but I think that's a perfectly reasonable line, and I think we'll do okay with it.